Hello and welcome to the WB Mason Coach Report on GoHofstra.com. Joined as always by the head coach of the Hofstra baseball team, John Russo. Coach, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Lynn, for having me.
Coach, let's get right into it. Coming off a 1-2 weekend, opening up CAA play at UNCW, who was the preseason favorite. So, just your overall thoughts on the weekend series?
No, I thought Wilmington was everything we thought that they would be. They were really good off the mound. I thought their offense was good. I thought they played really good defense. I thought the Friday night matchup of Rooney and Royalty lived up to the hype. Both guys were really good. Rooney went 7 innings. I think Royalty went 6 innings. Royalty leaves. It's a 3-3 game. We get a run from a Robert Weishire single, and then Chris Weiss comes out, strikes out 6 to end the game, and got us a win on Friday night, which I thought was really big and good to the series. And then because of rain forecast on Sunday, we moved to a doubleheader on Saturday, and had a chance. And we weren't able to get the second one, but I thought we played really good baseball on the weekend, and I'm happy, I guess, with one win and the way we played baseball.
Talk about, mentioned Chris Weiss, just he's really reinvented himself the last couple of years. Started out as a freshman, was a field player, then moved to pitching as a sophomore, and really in this late inning closer role over the last 2 years, he did some startings for his sophomore year, really reinvents himself and has become one of the most dominant pitchers in the CAA. He has 10 saves in his career, which ranks in the top 5 in Hofstra history. He's got up to 149 strikeouts, and really most of those have come in the last 2 seasons, this season and last season. What about Chris's makeup has made him so successful in that role?
I think first and foremost, people use the term bulldog and toughness and all this stuff, and Chris Weiss exemplifies all that. But I also, I talked about it last week, I'll talk about it again this week. I think it's hard work, and Chris is one of the hardest workers on the team. He's a leader as vocally and physically in the off the field, on the field. Weight room, you can't beat him. I think he's had that since he was in high school. That was something I saw in high school of him, of how hard of a worker he was, and he didn't get enough credit for what he did off the field also. And so I always knew that he'd be able to develop into something. He did come in here as a position player, reinvented himself, or not had to reinvent him. He was also a good pitcher, but he has aspirations of professional baseball, and I think if that's his aspiration, that's his goal, we had to be on the mound. And in the last 2 years, you're right, he's figured it out, and I think in my eyes, he's made himself a professional pitcher. We've had 16 games so far. He's thrown in 8 of them. He's got 2 wins, 4 saves, 1 hold. In our 10 wins, out of his 6 out of his 8 appearances had decisions. So there is nobody in the CAA that's more reluctant on an arm than we are to Chris Weiss. And I think Chris Weiss is having a great year so far. He could continue, and hope everything happens for him as the season goes on.
Another player who's having a great year, and we talk about it every week, but Vito Freesia, continued his hot hitting, about a 364 this weekend. Did have a 10-game hitting streak that came to an end in the series finale, but again, what have you seen from Vito that he's been able to maintain his consistency through the first month of the season?
I know we talked about it a little bit last week, but you see it more and more each time. He's in the 3-hole, and the experience, I think, of the last 2 years, with Hofstra, summer ball, everything has given him the experience he's needed at the plate. But I think the thing now that he's doing is he's having professional at-bats. People talk about seeing guys in the major leagues and how they have big-time at-bats, and they don't see, the 1,000 at-bats they have in the minor leagues. Well, Vito's running up on, almost 600 college at-bats so far, and I think we're all seeing the fruits of that labor by the at-bats and the way he puts together at-bats at the plate. He gets the 2 strikes, he's not panicked. Everybody knows who he is. You can't miss him when he walks into the park. You don't miss him when he's in the box with his size and physicality that he brings, and he just gives you good at-bats every time. He'll take his walks. He won't venture too much off the plate. He'll know when it's a big at-bat and he has to do a little bit more. He's just done everything from an offensive standpoint that we could ask for so far.
All right, turning our attention to this week, we got a non-conference game on Wednesday down at Monmouth, and then another road CA series at Towson. keys to victory in this coming week to get back on track.
Another one before we go, I thought Costello had a really good weekend, and we see his maturity starting to come about. And I think we need to keep developing some more hitters to get ready for Towson. We have a midweek against Monmouth this weekend, then we have Towson, and feel like we're pretty good with what we know we can do on the weekend on the mound. And this week against Monmouth, we're gonna get to see some arms that we haven't seen this year, but we've all been waiting for them to throw, and super excited to see what they look like on this week when we play Monmouth, and then carry it into the weekend. And at the end of the day, almost all our games, 16 games so far, 13 have been on the road. After this week, it'll be 16 of 19 games on the road, and I feel like we've done all right overall so far, but we need to win a series down at Towson. I think it's big. Every CAA weekend is big. You want to win the series, but for our 6 first games to be on the road, I just think we have to get offensively here a little bit. We're playing really good defense right now behind our pitching staff, so that's helping. And if we get the offense going some point this week, I think that'll help us in the Towson series.
All right, Coach, thanks for joining us.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks, Len.
You've been watching the WB Mason Coaches Report on GoHofstra.com.